Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Everything in Racing. Before we really get into anything here, first thing I am going to ask is please hit that subscribe button and the like button. It really does help to push us forward in the algorithm a little bit so that people can find us here a little bit, hear everybody's stories. Yet another week has come and gone, and there's no chair, and it is empty over here. There's, what, did I used to have a co-host?
I thought you did
You
it.
used to do
I used to have one.
Much,
yeah, just... I don't know. There's not even indentations in the carpet anymore where it used to be.
It's like he was never here.
It's like he was never here. We got two brand new guests on today. We got Cam Perry and Joe Perry. Welcome, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Glad to be
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you very much for coming on, man. This is a whole lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
So, like we start every single podcast, what got you guys into this world of horrible financial decisions?
Nah.
Well,
Let
I
him
started really from my brothers and all. They raced, it's been 20 years ago, and they always drag raced and everything, and I kind of helped them with their vehicles and stuff. So I was into drag racing, but I was into more go-kart racing than I was drag racing at the time. So, and we kind of got out of everything, drag racing and go-kart racing. Life come about, had two kids, so two boys and all, and it just went from there, Then we got back into the go-kart racing a little bit with my oldest son. And then Cam come along. He come along, and he got done a little bit of go-kart racing, not much, and we kind of phased out of that again. And then we really got to spending money. They wanted to go drag racing again, so we got back into that. Yeah.
I've heard that a lot of, like if you look at the bios on like NASCAR drivers, like where they got started, almost all of them got started in go-karting.
Yeah.
Yep.
That like as a kid, that's where they started at.
Had to start somewhere.
You had to start somewhere,
Yep,
and
that's
they're like,
right.
did this series, and all of a sudden, now they're in a NASCAR doing 200 miles an hour,
Oh, yeah.
for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like he said, we used to do go-kart racing and everything, and my brother's like 9 years older than me, so I was watching him at the track and everything. And by the time I got enough, I did about a year or two, and decided to get out of it. And said life happens, we got out of it, and probably 2017, I think it's when 252 had picked up real good.
Yep.
Kinston's our home track. It's 20 minutes from us. Jacksonville is another 25 minutes from us. We're right in between them.
Nice.
So we were going to 252 races all the time. And it was like, man, this drag racing thing, it looks fun. I've always been into cars and everything. We have a restoration shop and built cars for years, for as long as I could remember, going to car shows and stuff and races, stuff like that. So it's cool to have something local to us. And like, man, I want to be a part of that. So we had a 65 coupe Mustang at the house, and
That was not theirs or mine.
no,
it was my wife's.
It was my mama's car.
It's Mama's car. She don't need it.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh no, it was sitting on a rotisserie. We were getting ready to rebuild it for her and give her a show car, street car, and everything. And me and my brother caught a wild hair and was like, "We need a body." I know where one's at. Pushed it out, started pressure washing it, and cleaned it up, all the algae off of it. And a week later, we were putting it on the rollback and taking it to his shop and started cutting it up and building a chassis around it.
Poor mom.
First
right?
thing my
Poor
wife
mom.
asked, "Where is my car going?" I said, "You don't really have one no more."
Your car?
I said, "I'll get you one. I'll get you another one."
Yeah. So started building it. Took us about 2 years probably to build it, off and on. I was working night shift at the time at my former job, and I'd get off in the morning, go to the shop, help them out with it. My brother, he was working at the shop at the time, so whenever we weren't building customer cars, we were working on the race car after hours and all. And like I said, it took us about a year and a half, 2 years to get it done, and yes, we've been in it ever since, in the racing ever since, much as we could, about every weekend.
And built everything ourselves. That's what we're more proud of because we built the chassis. My oldest son, he was a welder, professional welder and all, and I mean, he welded everything up on the car. I mean, the car works.
Everything in the car, we did it ourselves. We had somebody else build the motor and build the transmission and rear end, but we installed everything, built the chassis, did a lot of had some help with the tuning early on, but I mean, That was an in-house car, 100% all the way through. So
I think it's really important, like if you're gonna really get into drag racing, that you build the car,
oh yeah,
right? You know, like it is one thing to have a professional shop, you know, build you a car and all of
Right.
that, right? And like I would use an example of like Cletus McFarland. He just had that Project Eagle built,
Yep.
right?
Beautiful.
You know,
car.
it's a beautiful car. They did a great job with
Yeah.
it, right? The build quality is just better than what his guys can do, but they're
Right.
still very hands-on
Yes.
with it. You know, I would say, especially in the earlier stages of racing, like you need to have the ability to completely
work on
take
it
it apart and put it back
Yeah.
together.
That's right.
Because I'm sure
Yeah.
you as a driver going down the track, if something's wrong, within about a half a second, you can identify where it
Yep.
is.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's the advantage of, like, I built my car,
Yeah.
right? And so anytime I've had a problem with it, I'm like,
That sounds like the rear end.
That sounds like the rear end. That sound like, you know,
weird.
Yeah.
you know, it was, I went to go shift the car one time and it didn't shift, right, at all. But like I didn't feel anything in the shifter. I was like, oh, shifter cable came off,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And you know, my guy's like, how did you know? I was like, I just knew.
I know, yeah.
I just knew that's what it was.
Yeah.
you know?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's kind of how we feel. Like, I mean, we didn't hardly know anything about drag racing at all. We just Coleman Heath stays right up the road from us. Him
well,
and
that's
my,
a bad influence right
he,
there.
he is a very bad influence. He definitely got me into it.
For
Got
being
the
a
bug
cop,
for it.
he's a horrible
He
influence.
is.
Yeah, he
yes.
is.
You know?
But
I'm still trying to get you on, brother. You need to come on here, man.
but him and my brother, they were best friends. Shoot.
Ever since they were little.
Yeah.
You know, all through high school and
Yeah.
everything.
So I've known Coleman forever, and we were going to races with him when he had the old Chevelle and everything.
Yeah.
And we were just hanging out with him at Kinston and Darlington or wherever else he would go. We were hanging out with him, being around it. That's kind of what got us in it and led us toward the LS path, the stop
Yeah.
block path, and also led us down that road. And,
Just
man,
another LS in a Ford.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
just like everybody else.
You know,
Yeah.
I could forgive it if it was a Fox body, right? Because let's be
Yeah,
honest, the
yeah.
Fox body is pretty much, other than maybe the Mustang 2, is the ugliest of the Mustangs.
Yeah,
You know, it's just a square box in which you can put anything.
It was like
in
a 8-year-old could draw
Yeah,
the design
exact-
up on them. Just a
exactly.
box, like you said.
You know.
Yeah.
That's why we didn't want to. If we built one, we were talking about building one. I said, I don't want to build another Fox body. I said, I want something different.
Yeah.
And that's how the 65 come about, you know.
Yeah, got a lot of slack from that. In fact, for the first 2-3 years having the Chevrolet motor in there, for sure. Still do.
Still
honestly.
do.
Yeah,
Still
still
do.
going to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They won't ever end.
I've got a great Coyote I could sell you and put it in there, man.
If I had the budget some of these guys did, I would put it in there. But
I mean, you've seen the parts list too. You know,
oh,
yeah.
You're commenting
Oh,
on it.
yeah.
Like it
It's
is
a nice
a
piece.
badass motor, man.
it
Yeah.
is. That's
You know.
100%.
It's been deep in the fours too.
Yeah.
So you know,
Oh yeah,
it might help because it might be a little bit heavier actually than your LS. Keep
dude.
that front nose down.
It's been a crazy year
Yeah.
for us with
Yeah.
wheel stands. Used to, man, we just never really had issues. Like every now and then we'd pop a wheelie, but this year for whatever reason, I've been working on my pilot's license or something. I don't know what it is, but I ought to be certified by now.
Did anyone warn you when you were originally building the car that the wheelbase might be a little too short for it, or
It's actually
No,
longer
it's
than
longer than-
in most cars. It's 108.
108. It's longer than a
108
Fox
inches.
body.
Really?
Fox body's 100
Oh, okay.
inches. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's actually helped us out a lot. So
Yeah.
thank God
Yeah.
we ain't in a Fox body. We
yeah, no, that's true. It'd be even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
man, I'm trying to think of who else does worse wheelies. I mean,
Thurman Braxton. That's one
Thurman
that pops
Braxton.
in my head. That
Yeah.
dude.
I did comment that every time he does one of those like to the moon wheelies, he
Oh,
comes
yeah.
back just like a little bit shorter every time.
Yeah.
I believe it.
You know,
Dude's crazy to be. God, he's in the 70s now and just still drag racing, doing crazy wheel stands and everything. Dude, don't care.
yeah,
I mean, he did jump in a Fox body. He
Yeah.
drove for, or drives for Jerry Harrell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And first time in, and it was a nitrous car. Had never been in a nitrous car.
Yeah.
hits a little
And-
different, doesn't it?
It did.
a
It
little
did
different.
100%. Yeah.
But it,
Had never sat in the car, never, hardly ever seen the car.
Yeah.
Saw him at the track and everything, knew who he was, but he, something come up one day, needed a driver, called me up one day, and was like, hey man, we're racing Thursday night, I need a driver. It's like, if you want it, you got it. Like, buddy, I ain't never sat in your car, never messed with nitrous, nothing like that. Man, I don't care. I know you're a good driver, and I want you in it. Like, all right, we'll be there. We'll get fitted in the car. I think he brought it by the shop like on Wednesday, got in the car, adjusted the seat and the belts and everything to make it fit for me. And Thursday night we were heading in the first round for 252 that night. That's whenever they were doing the race away on and everything on Thursday. So
yeah,
jumped right in it, and first pass went decent. It was on the ground. It was good enough to advance and everything. We had some good draws. Advanced through that first round. I think we had one kid on it. It was like second round, had another decent buy, but I knew we had to step it up. I'm like, let's go ahead and turn the second kid on. I don't think Jerry had ever turned the second kid on this car. And so we turned it on for him and go out there and do a monster wheel stand again on the back bumper. And at this point, I had never done a wheelie before, even in my car.
Yeah.
And
so there's the track. Where did the track go?
Where did the track go? Like, what do I do now? So I'm up there, I'm looking at the skyline and everything. It's like, I probably need to bring this thing down because I don't know where I'm at right now. Throw back in the throttle and it settles down, and we go on to the next round.
Wow.
And I think the next we ran 3 rounds that night. And made a shock change. Went back out there. We were in the left lane all night at Kinston. Got put in the right lane in the finals against Timmy Smith.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of the right lane at Kinston.
No, it feels like you're kind of like being pulled towards the wall.
Yeah. Well, that night we took off. Car didn't do a wheel stand or nothing, but I don't know if it was crooked or just the way the track was that night. We shimmy over to the center line. It's like, man, I'm getting close over here. I know I'm close, and I can hear Timmy. He's right beside me. I mean, I got that wheel cranked over to the right. Like, man, this thing hooks up right. This ain't going anywhere. This ain't my car. I don't know how to even pay for this thing. And I could hear Timmy beside me. He's like, man, I got to lift. And I finally did. We were probably half track. I got over far enough. I clipped the timing block, bent Jerry's front valence on his car, and snatched it back, going through the finish line and everything. And like, so, Jerry, I had to fix that for Jerry and all. And first night in that car, and just went straight to the finals, went personal best with the car and everything.
Nice.
And so he was excited. He said it was worth it. He was worth. He had to go to the doctor the next day and everything. But and he said he was a little bent up out of shape and everything. He was in a bind. I scared him a little too much.
There you go.
But
man,
that's the only time I've driven a nitrous car and everything. Everything else has always been turbos. Just for whatever reason, that's what we wanted to build. So that's what we went with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going turbo. I've been supercharged nitrous for the last couple of years.
Yeah,
you know, and it's going to be interesting because it's just the car acts completely differently.
Yeah.
You know, from that instant torque to more of the ramping it in a little bit.
You'll love it once you get used to it.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I'm glad he was able to do both.
Mm-hmm.
And he said,
it's definitely
I love a turbo car. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably next year we'll show up and there'll be a screw blower coming out of the hood of that.
Oh, yeah.
Zoomies.
It'd be a blast. I'd love to drive one. I don't know if I can't afford it right now, but I'd love to have one. They're wild.
Yeah. Those screw blower cars, man, are nuts.
They are. I don't know how to get them to hook up at little local tracks. Even the big tracks, man, you're talking 3,000-4,000 horsepower. That is insane.
That's who I was saying. Jason Rouse. Jason Rouse has a screw blower, and they wheelie all the time too.
Yeah.
You know,
you wouldn't think they would. You think this thing's got to be nose heavy.
It's got to be nose heavy. It's a long wheelbase car. You know, it's wide. You know, no. Every time that nose comes right up. You know, like, come on, guys. You know, we had them on here a little while ago. It was a lot of fun. Emmett is really fun.
Yeah,
you know?
Good people there.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So, what did you guys say the shop is that you guys run? Or
Pop's Classic Restoration. That's my dad's. It's been in business.
Guessing your pops.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been in business. Well, I've been doing it all my life, but I've been in it full time professionally for probably about 10 years now. And all we do now is high end restoration builds.
Nice.
And all. So we stay busy right now. We're about 4 years out.
Wow.
On work. Yep. So.
Wow.
We stay busy.
We had a guy on here called Dan D'Alessandro. He has Greasy Boy Customs, and that's same kind of deal there. Mm-hmm. You know, and he's probably got like 18 cars down there in queue, you know, to go, and he's trying his best to like knock stuff out. And I finally got through to him like, man, you got to hire somebody else. You got to have the people to. I mean, it's been tough to
to find people that
Mhm.
wants to do that kind of work. So that's been my biggest thing,
Yeah.
and finding the right people to do the job too.
Oh, believe me, I get that 100%.
Yeah.
I'm a business owner as well.
Yeah.
If
you
they
know.
can't do it like I want it done, I don't need them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's do you follow Dave Ramsey at all?
Mm-mm.
You know, he's a financial guy, helps people get out of debt and all this other stuff, right?
Right.
But the way he talks about it is like, you're not going to go to the Kentucky Derby and try to win with a donkey. So
No.
why would you hire a donkey?
Right.
He's like,
Yeah,
That's
that's right.
right.
he's
Yeah.
just like, sometimes it might take you a little bit longer. You might miss a Kentucky Derby or two, but it'd be better to show up with a thoroughbred. It's
Yeah.
like, so,
100%.
sometimes you just got to tough it out, where you,
You got to find those right
you get
people.
by, but you're not profitable.
That's right.
And then you find that right guy to put into that place.
Yep. That's right.
It's it took me about 2 years to hire somebody on.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, like I said, you got to find the right guy, and once you do, it's on from there.
It is on
Yep.
from there. I got him on board. I was like, all right, I'm going to get you busy, But now he's so good that I'm not working all that much right now.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
Mhm.
now I need more work because,
I'm letting him
Yeah.
do it
well,
all.
I know, right? I was like, well, I can't stay at home. My wife might
Yeah.
get to know me.
Yeah, can't have that.
Can't have that.
No.
Can't have that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. So like, what would you say is your guys like? Is it like complete, like start to finish?
We
Do
pretty
you
much
take
do-
on projects halfway. Like, what do you do?
We pretty much do everything start to finish.
Okay.
We do, and we do everything. We don't do the interior in-house. I send that out and have it done in the western part of the state. There's a couple of guys up there that I deal with. And I was doing all my wiring. I don't do that anymore. Actually, Kenny and Heidi, I think you had them on here
Yep.
a while back. They do all my wiring for the cars and stuff, and we have them to come up.
They're good people.
They are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a kind of issue with when he was racing the El Camino and all, and we kind of helped him out with the Mustang. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
Very
felt
good.
sorry for him,
Oh, is
And,
that where he got the Mustang from? Was from you guys?
The Compadre, yeah.
Compadre.
And that's where he got it
That
from
was
us. It was a street car to start with that we drove around, and
Yeah.
actually drove it on the autocrosses we'd go
Yeah.
to some and all.
Just
And
yeah, started out. That was my brother's drag car.
Yeah.
We just
Okay.
it's kind of just a weird deal. It's showed it to the house one day, and there's a Mustang sitting in the yard. I was like, "What's that?" It's like, well, "That's my race car."
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I reckon. Getting back in drag racing, I reckon. All right. And
Yeah.
that kind of, I think he put nitrous on it for a little while.
yeah.
Tried that for a little bit. Ended up getting out of that, and it just sat there. But then I got my hands on it. And turning it. We were going to Mustang Week all the time in Myrtle Beach, and they
Oh, I
had
Yeah.
love Mustang
Oh,
Week.
Love
man.
it, man. When it was in July and everything, I was out for the summer for school. Man, every year that's where we wanted to go.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I've preferred it in September because it's a little cooler.
It is,
Yeah, a little
100%.
bit. A little
yes.
bit. Yeah.
Myrtle Beach in the middle of the summer
That sucks.
It's brutal.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are dedicated if
Yeah.
you're out there for the week straight.
Mm.
Yeah.
But we saw them out there doing autocross and everything. I was like, man, that'd be fun. They look like they're having a blast. So took the old drag car, changed the shocks and sway bars and everything on it. They were doing, BF Goodwrench was doing a driver's school on like Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
So we went down early, went there to the driver's school and all. The instructor would ride with you. I got in the car, drove him around and everything. Man, we had a blast doing that. We did that probably two years in a row. And everything, we go back to the track on Wednesday, and for the next day at hours, that car ran until it ran out of fuel, and we were out there autocrossing it all day long. That was a blast, man. That was a good time.
Yeah. They've North Myrtle Beach Drag Strip finally started doing stuff for Mustang Week this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Although it wasn't really with Mustang Week, they just put out a post saying,
Oh, yeah.
"Hey, we're open for testing
Yeah.
too."
Yeah.
That's smart on their part. I may as well have.
Yeah.
Should have been doing it before now.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to the new owners of Mustang Week.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to do a podcast, and then they just ended up being too busy. It didn't
Yeah.
work out, right?
Right.
But we were talking about like we should put on an event next year there just called "Keep It Off the Streets."
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
it'd
Yeah.
be like 2 or 3 nights during the week. Be like, "Hey, look,
Just show
bring-
up and
just show up, have a helmet,
Yeah.
and
Race all you want.
Race all you want. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You can hot lap that thing as much as you want.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
That's right.
That's gonna cut down on the amount of guys because it happens to a lot of them. They get caught street
They-
racing out there in Myrtle Beach,
Yep.
and
Oh,
they
yeah.
have no tolerance for it
No,
there
you
at all.
can't rev up anymore out there with
Oh, yeah.
tires. Man, it got We were there, man. It was wild. When they had it at the mall, Bass Pro Shop Mall and all.
Yep.
They'd pull out of there, and everybody would be standing on the side of the street, and they'd take out 2 or 3 of them, just wipe out into the crowd, into the oncoming lanes. It was crazy
was
there for a
crazy.
few years.
Well,
and they finally shut it down and
yeah.
moved it.
Yeah, what was really funny to me about that whole thing is, like, you know, you go online and everyone's complaining, oh, the cops are over, you know, this, or the cops are over that. I'm like, the law is pretty clear about what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do, and what you're doing is illegal.
Is illegal,
Yeah.
right? So what they're doing is their job.
Yeah,
That's
enforcing
right.
the law. That's
Like,
what they should do.
You know, now we have places where we have burnout competitions.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the owner's accepting of it. Although this year, for some reason, the cops shut down the burnout competition at the Beaver
I saw
Bar.
that.
It was so dumb.
Yeah.
I was actually there filming for
Oh, yeah?
that, you know, standing in, like, the worst spots. I didn't really get
Yeah.
great footage of it.
Yeah.
But I say the worst spot, it was right behind where the cars were doing their burnout.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you were getting
And
yeah.
one of them, this is still has burnout dust on it
Yeah.
Okay.
from doing that, right?
Wow.
You know, and the first car goes to do its burnout, and it's like right there in front of me, and then turns like that.
Ooh.
So literally all the
Yeah.
rubber's hitting me. I turned around and ran for my life.
Yeah, I would have
I'm
too. Yeah, doing it is.
You know.
Bad spot today.
Yeah, we got like 6 burnouts into it, and the cops showed up and said, "You're shut down.
Wow.
You're not allowed to do it. We got a noise complaint." We're like, "It's 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's 6 o'clock. What do you mean? This is on private property.
Yeah.
We've done it here every year." And like, our other thing was, doubt you're going to go down there to Suck Bang Blow and shut them down.
Right.
No,
Right,
Yeah.
you know.
That ain't going to
That's
happen.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
and it didn't. The next night they had a burnout competition there.
No problem.
No
No
problem.
problem?
No shutdown.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's 2 different counties.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right.
I didn't know that.
So where Beaver Bar is Georgetown County,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next one is Harrell County or whatever Myrtle Beach actually is.
Uh-huh. Horry County.
Yeah,
Horry
Horry
County.
County.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's where the line is.
Okay.
It's in between those 2
Yeah,
bars.
I didn't know that.
Which for anyone who hasn't been there, it's maybe what, a quarter mile,
if that.
if that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely
easily
walking
walk
distance.
between the 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
You know,
Great area. I love Little Myrtle's Inlet right there, man. I love that area.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, if you've never been to Mustang Week, it is a lot of fun.
Yes,
Oh, it
there
is.
is something
Yeah.
for everybody to do.
Something for
100%.
everybody. You know, most of the events are towards the evening. You
Yeah.
know, the show on Friday and Saturday. There's so many cars to see. There's so many
Yep.
vendors out there. You know, they do a really good job of doing
They
that.
do.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm actually in the show every year because Modify My Stang, who's
Yep.
out there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the sponsors on my car.
Yep.
And that's part of his sponsorship deal is, hey, Mustang Week, you work for me.
You're coming to the
Right.
booth.
You come to the booth and
Yeah.
like your car needs to be there and you
Yeah.
need to be helping me sling parts.
Hey,
I'm like, hey, I'll
sure.
do it.
Yeah,
I'll do
it's
it.
vacation.
You know,
whatever.
hey,
Yeah.
I get my car into the show for free.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Still get to enjoy
Yeah.
it.
I still
So,
get to enjoy it, you know. So that I've always really
Yeah.
enjoyed.
Mustang was always a
Mustang.
fun. We hadn't been as much here to probably the last 5, 10
5,
years. We
yeah.
hadn't been as much just because
Yeah.
I changed my jobs and everything, and
Mhm.
just the way life is, just hadn't been able to make it.
I do have to say probably my favorite one I did go to though was the year COVID hit.
Yeah.
Right? They
Mhm.
waited until 10 days before the event to cancel it.
Boy.
Oh, man.
Right?
Yep.
You know,
I
they were
remember
planning on having it, and then
Mm-hmm.
Myrtle Beach was like, absolutely not. We will arrest anybody who shows up.
In a Mustang.
Don't
Right.
do it. You know, like any of the official stuff that showed
Yeah.
up, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So on the official, you know, Mustang Week page, it said canceled, right?
Yeah.
But then we all got an invite on Facebook to Totally Not Mustang Week.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
the name of the page.
Yeah.
This is Totally Not
No,
Mustang Week.
Sweet.
And all of the same events were still happening. It just wasn't organized. It
right.
was just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just
You
show
know,
up. Yeah.
just
We always happen to be here.
I mean, it was too late to cancel Airbnbs. It was too late
Oh,
to
yeah.
cancel
Right.
hotels. You
Yep.
know, like everyone's already taken time off of work. Like,
yeah.
like
We're
really,
gonna go enjoy this, whether
We're-
y'all say so or not.
yeah, exactly. So we all just showed up anyway.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know,
That's
and
cool,
honestly,
man.
it
I
was
didn't
probably
know
my,
that.
it was probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
You know,
That's cool.
it got canceled the year after that because literally a hurricane went through.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
remember
it's
that.
like-
I remember
Yeah.
that.
Okay, yeah, like clearly we're not going to have this
Yeah.
one. You
Yeah.
know?
No, that's understandable. We'll let it slide that time.
Yeah.
I've actually had the last 2 years a car that we done actually for one of a guy that helps sponsor us that does our
Oh,
jackets
our
and
apparel.
stuff. Steve Knight, he got a Mustang down there the last 2 years and won an award with it, 69 Mustang that we done.
Nice.
So he's
Yep.
he's been doing well with it wherever he goes at.
Yeah.
and all. It's a beautiful Mustang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's real nice.
So, going back to your car,
Mm-hmm.
Like, can we get a little bit more detailed into like kind of like what, like, do you just do 252? Do you do other series as well? What's the trajectory of this car, you think?
Pretty much when we started out, the only thing I really knew for as far as drag racing was 252. So we built the car. It was on a budget, but everybody always told me, I mean, you got 3 pocketbooks paying for that thing between me, my brother, dad, mom. It takes a lot of money, 100%. I mean, that's why we couldn't have a shop build it. Like, we got to do the stuff ourselves. But anyways, we built the car ourselves. It's a mild steel chassis. It was all steel body. Had a 5.7 LS I picked up for a couple grand from a guy. Like, it was a good piece and everything, like, but it won't top of the line anything. It had like a 76 millimeter turbo on it. Went out the first year and had Eric Gold helping us. He got the baseline tune on the car. He went with me to Galot for my first 2 test sessions out there. Car was running like 520s, I think, at the time.
Consistently.
Man,
it was like a bracket car.
like 5 passes in a row.
Yeah.
We spent a 523 and a 526. We ended up leaving on like 20 pounds of boost and ramping it to 30. That's just what we thought the limit was. At the time. We didn't have a clue what we were doing at all. And left there from testing, did a little bit of the 252 stuff that year, most of the 252 stuff that year.
Yeah.
First race was Woodstock from Carolina No Time. Didn't know how big that event was and how fast them guys were. But, man, we were running stock block boost, and we had 22, 23 cars in the class. Like, crazy number was there that weekend. Go out there, and I can't remember the people. They were live feeding the event.
Flo?
It may have been Flo at the time. Yeah,
remember,
it was somebody. And they come up, and like me, Coleman, and TJ Turner were all there with our cars. And they came around, and they ended up interviewing all of us. This is when the car was the old yellow body coupe and everything.
Oh, rat rod
like
looking.
a rat rod and everything. Talked to them guys and all. Raced the rest of that year 252. Didn't really go anywhere. I think we went to Brock's races that year, maybe.
Maybe I can't remember if we did or not.
I still haven't made it to one of his races yet.
Dude, you got to go. It is the
go.
best run event we go to every year, hands down. I would tell that to any promoter out there.
It sure
Brock
is.
He's straight up.
Yeah, it's really funny to me. Like, you're in the 252 rejects or whatever we're calling it now, right?
Whatever it is this week.
Whatever it is this week. I think I'm going to change it back to rejects here pretty soon.
I
liked that one better.
Yeah, that was good.
David, you're still not allowed to leave, by the way. But like, it's really funny. I hear David complaining that people complain about this or complain about that or complain about this or complain about that.
Yeah.
I've never had a problem with the payouts. The payouts are whatever they are, right? More turnout, more spectators, we will get more payout, right? It's just we're not getting the spectators, right?
Yeah.
The payout is the payout. Changing rules last second, I'm like,
that
okay,
sucks.
That's
like tough.
Make the rules, stick to the rules, right?
Yeah.
My main thing has always been the event needs to be run well.
Yes.
Right.
And a lot of them just aren't.
Well, you got promoters, they're wanting to race their own car in the class. They're we'll take David for example. I ain't never really had a problem with David, but his events, he was trying to run his own car, or his daddy was trying to run his car, so he's having to help his dad out, having to help customers out with their stuff. And I get that's your business, you got to do that. But also he's trying to run the race, and man, it's just like it should be a 50 minutes to an hour between rounds, and it's taking an hour and a half, 2 hours. We're starting the drivers' meeting. It's supposed to start at 4:00, and it's 5:30. We ain't even had the meeting yet. It's like, man, this is just the organization.
And then
bad.
It's running a bracket race on top of the list race.
There's
and
a lot
added
going
slick racing to it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they're like, and then guys are starting to complain about the prep because
you're trying
slick
so
tires
many
go
different
down,
things.
and then you have the radial tire guys go down, and like you can't get enough glue back onto the track in time. And
in
so,
time for the radio cars to come down.
in time for the radio cars to come down, and then the radio guys are like, "This is BS because we're blowing tires off, right?"
Yeah.
And then
It don't
slick
matter how much
tires
we turn it down, it's blowing them off. I don't know what you want me to do.
And then the slick tire guys are like, "This is BS. I can't get up any wheel speed." And it's like okay,
You got to pick one of the two.
Yeah.
well, and I agree with that, except for the fact that like places like World Cup Finals seems to have figured it out.
Yeah.
You know, and Duck X's races, right?
yep.
They seem to
Right.
have figured it out how to
Yeah.
get that mix of prep, because like the pro
Yep.
mods need a little bit of
They
slip.
need some wheel
Yeah.
speed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they need some wheel speed to get down, but like the radial versus the world cars,
They
need
go
to
right down
stick.
to be, and that's right in
You
the
know?
middle of the day, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 120-degree track. They're going right down. So
And that-
obviously something's going on there.
And that's always been kind of my, like, when they're like, oh, we're waiting for the weather to get better. We're waiting for the weather to get better. I'm like, the weather is the weather.
Yeah, you got to
That's
deal
right.
with it. Everybody's got to deal with the same
It's-
surface.
It's the same surface everybody has to deal with.
Yeah.
And if guys are just, you know, unwilling to turn their stuff down enough to get it to go down,
That's their problem.
you know, that's
Yeah.
their problem, not mine.
That's right.
Not every pass needs to be a
career
world
pass.
record.
No, you
career
got to tune
pass,
to
right?
the track. That's what
Yeah.
we've always tried to do. Tune to the track, and to an extent of who you're racing. If I'm racing Shannon Young, I'm gonna put another 5 pounds on it, 10
Mhm.
pounds on the turbo. I've got to, because dude's gonna run 180. That
Yeah.
done it to me twice this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that Camaro's gone.
Yeah.
She's, from what they're saying, it's
Yeah.
toast. I guess it
Mhm.
twisted the chassis or
Nah,
something.
dude, he took. He probably did.
You know,
if it
it's-
didn't, I'd
it
be
sucks.
surprised.
It
I
sucks.
hate it for him.
Yeah.
He Shannon has probably helped me out this year just as much as anybody else. He's
Mhm.
like, if I have a question, he'll answer it. And
Mhm.
he just wants competition. And
Yeah.
I feel like, and that's good. That's good for the sport. It's good for the series. Everywhere. That's how most of them, everybody should be. I
Mhm.
feel like help out when you can, because you keep going to the class and you only the race. You only got 4 or 5 cars in your class because you're just kicking everybody's tail.
Mhm.
You got to do something. Something's got to change, or you ain't gonna have nothing left.
Yeah.
I can see where David would cancel that class if he wanted
Yeah.
to, just
Mhm.
because he's not getting the support to make it worth it.
Yeah.
But going back to my car, we ran that 76 for that first year. I think we made it to the King race that year, our
Yeah.
first year.
And we were on E85 that
We were
year.
on
too.
E85 that year. It was supposed to be
Yeah.
a street car, and we had like a little Honda radiator in it and everything.
Yeah.
And tried driving it up the road one time, and
That didn't work.
that didn't work out. I made it about a mile up the road, and it was at about 180 already. Made it back to the shop, and it was about 210. I was like, I don't think this is going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, it made me nervous. So we just like we scrapped that, and we put the car to run big tire. We can run any tire we want on it. Anything
Yeah.
from a 235 to a 35-inch
33,
slick.
yeah.
It don't matter.
Nice.
We'll run it all. That's how the car was built. We didn't know what kind of racing we're going to do. It's like we're going to do everything.
Yeah. Didn't know any better, so hey, why not?
If
Yeah.
we drove it on the street, we were going to put big tires on it, Pro Street, because that's what
Yeah.
I mean, I got a truck that's Pro Streeted, so
Well, and that would knock down the RPMs in it going down the
Yeah.
street.
Yep,
So there
that's
you go.
right.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
ready to roll anywhere we wanted to.
Yeah. Do a drag and drive with it at this
Yeah,
point.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
just starting to take off.
Dude, drag and drives are everywhere.
Yeah,
Man.
You know, we have our own coming actually this next year.
I about to say,
the
I ain't see-
Crack-a-lacky Run.
Kakalaki Run. I'm gonna say
Mhm.
Sick Week's coming. With Sick
Mhm.
Mag, they're coming doing an event.
Well,
at
so, they're-
Rockingham, I think.
so what is the NMRA closed down?
Right.
Right. They
Yep.
I don't know why either.
Yeah, I haven't seen why, but
because like
yeah.
as far as I could tell, they had decent attendance. They
Yeah.
had decent car count.
Mhm.
Right. I don't know if it's just sponsorship fell out or the guys just running it just lost interest or
Yeah.
died. I don't know.
yeah,
Right.
Right. At this point, it would just be speculation.
Right.
My point.
Mhm.
But the so Sick the Mag was like, well, we can take it over, you know.
Yeah.
And so they just reached out to all the tracks and said, hey, we know you have this open slot because they'd already announced next year's schedule for
Right.
NMRA.
Yeah.
Right.
He said, can we step in and we'll put on our own event. So we're
I
gonna
didn't
see.
know that's how that happened.
Yeah, that's just how it
Okay.
happened, right?
Yeah.
They didn't
Pretty
buy
cool.
NMRA. You know, they're just like we're just gonna take over their spot, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know,
You know,
that.
because I mean, why not?
Well, I may as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
somebody's got to step up and take it.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
Yeah. You know, so that's you know, I guess we'll see. You know.
yeah. Hopefully
Um,
it'll. I know there's some guys around here. That's what they want. They want to have a street car to do drag and drive stuff with. They've built cars to do that, and they'll go a whole other states and doing it. At least now we'll have something in house per se.
Yeah. Yeah.
to
You know,
make it worth it.
there's Sick Week down in Florida, which is
Mhm.
you know, honestly, I think that's probably the best one if you're going to do it because it's in Florida in
Yeah.
February. Like
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
perfect time of year.
Absolutely.
down
Yeah.
there. And there's no racing going on here,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Not really.
Not yet.
Yeah.
You know, and so if you have like a new build on your car, just go test
Go
it
there and
there.
test it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
you
right.
got a week to test it,
Yeah.
and you're gonna find a weak spot.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
100%. You'll find a weak point.
Yeah.
You keep putting more on it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, going like our first year, made it to the King race, and that was a year Brock was just dominating everybody.
He's wearing
And
everybody
it was
out.
all one class, and I think we had 32 cars at the King race, the first King race we ran. And lo and behold, of course, I draw Brock,
First
number
round.
one dude that year. And we had Paul Powell helping us with the car the first year too.
I was just messaging him about coming on the podcast. He's
Yeah.
going on. He'll be the next one on.
okay,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
but he was helping us out that year, and we had done been in the trailer, and it's like we made 2 tunes. We had one A to B tune, and another one that was a all out tune. Welder and Jar's meeting. He saw who I drew. He's like, "Cam, put the other one in. Put the other tune in."
And Coleman was over
All
there.
right.
Coleman was over there talking junk to Brock, and I
Coleman
said,
going
"Oh
against me some
no."
shit, man. Coleman was talking that shit for me. I ain't got to talk it. No matter where we're at. He was talking shit to Brock and everything, and it's like, God, like, I don't think y'all understand.
And Brock had them little stickers. That everybody he outrun, he'd stick that sticker on the car. He'd
Yep.
sneak over there on it and stick it on the car.
Oh my
Yep.
God.
Sure enough,
Man.
he got me by probably 3 or 4 cars that day. I went career best. First pass ever went in a 498. First time I ever went into the fours was beside him at Kinston.
And it didn't matter.
It
did
didn't
not
matter.
one bit. He smoked my ass. And got a sticker that day from him. I think you put the sticker
I
on your
took it
toolbox
off and
at the
stuck it
shop.
on my toolbox. Yep,
Yeah.
There
sure
you
did.
And,
He snuck around. He was looking around, and I was looking for him, and then I seen him running over there.
run behind the trailer, snuck up on us. But
You know, he didn't bring that up during his podcast. He didn't mention that to me, that he was doing that to guys.
Oh, yeah.
The year after he won the whole King race, I think he dominated the year before. And the second year, he was doing good too. Anytime he would beat somebody, he was throwing stickers on their cars and everything.
Nice.
And they said, damn sure got us.
Yeah, we got one.
Second year, we decided, like, well, we ain't going to do it we can't drive it on the street, so scrap that. We're going to go to methanol, and we'll see what we can do with that. And I think at this point, we upgraded from the 76 to an 88.
Yeah, I
That we
think
bought
it
from
was.
Chris Moore over the winter.
When in
Yep.
doubt, more boost.
That's right.
Yep.
And we
Yep.
still had the same old 5.7 and everything. We switched to methanol, put the 88 on it. Everything else was the same. I think we're still all glassed at the time.
We were still, yeah.
Well, the definition of all steel, all glass is kind of up for debate.
It's up for debate, but
You
I
know,
will say
I-
we
I
were
We were
legit.
all steel.
I
We
prefer
were
to
all
call it some steel and some glass.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because like as far as I can tell, pretty much every all steel, all glass class lets you run
Legs and front and
legs and
rear.
front and rear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Fiberglass hood, front bumper, rear bumper. They may as well call it just a limited class at this point.
yeah,
There's no legit all steel, all glass class around here anymore that I've seen.
yeah, and it's. I mean, we're probably gonna do it in my car too. You know.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, you got to keep up with everybody. I mean, everybody else
Yeah.
is going to do it. You may as well too.
Well, and part of it's actually practical a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
I got a burn down tank for my car
Mhm.
because I've been burned down before.
It sucks.
It
Oh,
sucks,
yeah.
right?
It
Oh,
sucks.
yeah.
And you know, so you get out there and your catch can's full of junk, and you
Yep.
know, it's like, so I got a burn down tank for the car in case something happens, right?
Yep.
But the one that I bought, if we put it in how it's oriented, I have to move it back so far so that the chimney comes out the trunk that it would just be the trunk.
Yeah.
It-
Right.
You know, or we can push it far enough forward where the chimney would come out the back glass.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, we'll push it forward and I'll replace the back glass with Lexan or something.
Yeah.
You
But
know.
We had Jason Brazel. He's the one that he built He's done several things for us on our car, and he built us a
The
burn
puke
down
tank
puke
and-
tank and off
Yep.
the trunk area. He said, I made whatever side, because we didn't have much room in that coupe, you know. And he said, I'll, build it every how we need to, and that's
Custom
what he
fit it.
done.
Yeah.
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 'Cause we got burned down at Woodstock, first race.
Oh man.
Dude, as Billy Gordon. I won't never forget
Mm.
it. He burned the piss down out of me full
On
7
a
seconds.
on a test pass.
Oh,
On that
come
test
on.
Like, dude, I was talking like, dude, I'm brand new at this.
Mm.
I'm a bump in. It takes me like a second and a half to bump in. It's a 76 millimeter. It's like, I ain't gonna run with what you got at all. I go ahead and I don't know any better. I start building boost and bump on in, and I'm just waiting and waiting. It's like,
He's still
what
sitting
the
there.
piss are you doing, dude? Finally, he rolls in and we let go. And dude, I was livid that day.
It scorched. We had to change the fluid in the
Yeah, it
transmission.
burned
It was
everything.
it was smoke.
If you ever
Yeah.
race World Cup finals, which is it's a goal for me. World
Yeah.
Cup final up in
Yeah.
Maryland. They've basically all said you're running an import. They go in first.
Yep.
You do
Yep.
not go in first because they will burn you down.
Right.
I
You know.
pretty much since then,
From
I
that
have
day
made a
on.
point that I'm going in last. I will put enough fuel in this thing. I can sit here for 2 hours. I don't care. We'll both sit here and run out of fuel before I go in first.
I've always just made a habit of going and talking to the other driver
Yeah.
first.
Yeah,
You know,
we do
like-
that.
And that's pretty much what we started doing. There's some of them like they'll say, "Yeah, we'll do that," and I'm like, "Well, you ain't going in yet, and I'm ready to go." So I'll grab the trans brake and I'll rev it up a little bit, and I finally hear them. I see them easing in like a nitrous car. I see them nosing in a little bit, and I'll get on mine. But since then, I really haven't had any issues. Just that one issue.
Mm.
But second year running the car, we still had the old Bam Bam coupe car, yellow car, 88 on methanol. I think that's the year they went to the 2 classes for 252.
Mm-hmm. They split them.
They split them up, so we jumped in the lower class. And man, that was probably my funnest year of racing that we've ever had. Me and Sean Staub, man, we were going at it every week.
Every week.
Like we're always back and forth. A lot of times we would always nose them out every now and then, and it was just back and forth all year long. Sean, that's when he was doing the wheel stands and everything. He'd either do a wheel stand or he'd not tire off or go a lightning fast pass. One of the three was going to happen. Race like that all year. We got to June or July. We were at Kinston whenever the plane crash happened with James Brinkley. We had just ran first round, went personal best then, went a 482.
Yep.
Which
was the record at that
which
time.
was the record at the time for that class. Went through it, did that. Plane crash happened, canceled the rest of the night. Go back the next week or whenever it was, I raced again and grenade that motor. Like it blew the piss out of it, blew the pistons out, the sidewall of the motor.
There was parts hitting the guardrails going down the track.
They said it sounded like a shotgun was hitting the guardrail. It was impressive. It was bad. It actually blew out the right rear tire. I beat Sean. I would say I beat Sean in that pass. Shotgun the guardrail at Kinston, blew the right rear tire out, had oil everywhere. Got it woe down to stop. Sean stopped, checked on me and all. Everything was good.
We got the car home and we dismounted the tire, and there was part of a rod inside the tire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure was.
Wow.
That was crazy.
Wow.
So at the time, the limited class didn't have a engine block rule. You could run aftermarket block. So like, all right, we'll go ahead and step up. We went ahead and bought a Dart short block and everything. Got that in. It took it probably a month or whatever. Got that into the car. I think we got 6 passes on that motor, and it grenaded itself up.
What?
A wrist pin was left, didn't have the clip in it. Wrist pin slipped and grenaded the motor.
And they didn't have enough thickness pin for what we needed for boost.
We paid for the upgraded pin to put standard pin in, and
it was supposed to be in a motor full boost, and it won't.
Yeah. So we had that ordeal with that company. They actually ended up sending me most of the parts back that we had paid for. They replaced the parts and everything, and they ended up having P&M Performance in Richlands. I gave it to them for over the winter to put that together. Well,
before that, though.
Well, before that,
we built a 6.0.
Yeah, we wanted to make the King. I was bound and determined. I'm going to make the damn King race this year. We've been dominating pretty much all year. Had the fastest car. I'm making the King race. And go to P&M. He had a 6.0 block. It's like I put it together. So put that motor together. We show up. I don't think we had any testing on that car, on that motor whatsoever. Go into it Friday night for testing at Kinston. And
we just put the motor in the car that day before.
That day before. Like we were scrambling, putting this thing together. Go out and make a test pass. I hear a knock in it. Like dude, what is going on? I shut it down, tell Daddy and them, like, something's knocking like hell. I don't know what it is. It sounds terrible. Push it back to the trailer and like, well, we're done. We're just going to load up and go home. Load up that night, drive to the shop, like I say, 20, 25 minutes up the road. Drive to the shop and it's like, we're going to find out what's wrong with this thing right now.
Let's go ahead and pull the motor.
Let's pull it out.
Find out.
We're pissed off.
It's amazing how your determination changes from when you leave the track to when you get home.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you leave the track, you're like, I'm done.
I'm done with it. I don't want to see it.
I'm going to go to bed.
Yep.
And then As you're driving away, you get a little angrier and a little
It's
angrier and a little
it's
angrier.
a good thing we did that night because
Yeah.
when we got to the shop, we unloaded the car. This was about 8, 9 o'clock.
Something like that. It was dark. I remember
It was
that.
dark, and we pushed it in there on the lift, raised it up. I said, well, first thing I got to do is take the converter bolts loose and start pulling the bolts from the transmission, Raised it up and all, and I reached up there and took the wrench to take the converter bolts loose, and the converter moved. I said, wait a minute. I said, don't turn nothing else. I went and tightened every one of the converter bolts up. I said, fire it up now. Fired it up, didn't hear no noise. Slammed it back down on the ground, rolled it back in the trailer, and went back out there.
Nice.
That
back
got
out
back
that
there
night.
about 10 or 10:30.
Yeah, we're about to shut the gates down. They were done testing.
They were done
night.
testing,
They
so
were
we
about to
went
lock the gates
into the King race the next day with no passes
up. No
whatsoever.
testing
on it.
whatsoever. Went in Saturday. I don't know who we drew first round.
I don't remember.
Maybe I think it was Cameron Braxton. It was Cameron.
It was Cameron.
It was Cameron.
Yep.
Because he'd been talking shit to me all year.
He's a
And,
good shit talker.
Oh, yeah, he
he's a
is
good
that.
shit talker. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Get up there.
He red lights.
And he red lights. Daddy
I
talks about-
told him in the staging lanes. I said, main thing you can't do is don't red light against him. And what does he do? He goes up there and red light.
Yeah, red lit against us. I think I put 15, maybe 20 pounds on a boost on the car. It's like just a shot in the dark tune on this 6.0. I ain't never ran this motor on dyno or nothing. Shot in dark tune, it goes down, get a little bit of data. It's like, man, this thing, I got to pull a lot of fuel out of this thing, like 15, 20%. Like we were way off on
It
this
was
thing.
maxed out.
And so I pulled like 10% out. Next round, we draw Sean Staub. It's like, motherfucker. Of course, of all people, I got to draw him now. Like, talk to him and everything. Like, well, I got to put something on it. So I think we put 30 pounds of boost on it then. Let's go ahead and double the boost. We got to pull 10, 15% of fuel out of this motor. Let's go ahead and put double the boost on it. That's smart.
That was smart, yeah.
Go out there, make another fuel change and all. Go up there beside Sean. Closest race we've had all year. I beat him by 003.
Ooh.
Like,
It was
that
tight.
dude, I don't know what his deal was. He could his reaction time is where I would always get him at. I was dead on the tree for the first 2-3 years of this car. Like worst reaction time I ever had was probably like 050.
Yeah.
Everything else was in the teens or the 20s. And I ain't never drag raced until then, until we built this car and all. But I could leave on the tree. That's where I would get shown at every time. Beat him by 003. Like good, we're good then. Get on to the next round. I think we had a bye.
I think we had a bye and we didn't make the pass
Yeah, didn't
because
make the
we
pass.
didn't know.
Another big fuel change. Want to pull
Yeah.
more, another 10%
Yeah.
out. It's like, well, let's just
We took the beams, I think, and backed it off.
took the beans and backed off.
because we knew we were going to the finals,
Yeah,
And then we had
had Brian Jones in the finals.
Yeah,
And get up there. I make the tune change and all.
still pulled more percent.
Pull
of
more fuel out of it. Like, man, this thing we have ruined this thing or something. Something's way off. Go out there, we're making the pass against him in the finals for the King race, and I didn't know it. He spun the tires,
I think he did.
and I stayed in it, went it all the way through the traps and all. As soon as I go through the traps, started wind light come on, through the parachute, and by the time it blossomed, the motor breaks in half,
it
grenades
grenaded.
itself.
And it lit up
Like,
in a fireball.
It lit up in a fireball. The fire was coming inside the car. The whole engine bay was on fire. Fire was coming inside the car. I've got videos from fans videoing. All good actually. Before I really knew him, he sent me the video of the car of making the pass and blowing up and everything.
It was bad.
Full of fire. Sandy Bottom got there. They had a truck at the track. Went up there, put the fire out and everything. Like it's just, it was a mess. So that pretty much
Won the
took us-
race.
Won the
Yeah,
race.
you won the race.
Won the
Yeah, won the
race.
race. So that was good.
We were
Yeah.
pushing it back to the victory lane and all you could hear is parts and pieces falling out of the
Tink,
motor.
tink,
tink,
Yeah,
tink,
they were falling on
It
the
was bad.
ground.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was after the fire, we decided, well, going to be down a little while. Spent a lot of money this year on motors. We
Went through 3 motors that year.
Yeah, went through 3 motors that year. It's like, I don't know what to do now.
So that's
Well,
enough.
We had P&M was building the spare dart motor that we got the parts from. He put that together over the year, and like, well, man, this is
'Cause we were out for the
We're-
whole season
we're gonna-
the next year.
we're going to take this year off just to recoup.
That was this year for
Oh.
me.
Yeah, no, it sucks.
It does. I hate sitting on the sidelines.
Dude,
Oh, man.
I think we went to like 2 races that year. I remember one of them was Brock's and maybe one was the King race. And we went to Brock's race, man. I was like, Daddy, I hate it here.
Bored to death.
Boy,
I said I did not want to do
despise
this no
being
more.
here.
Yeah.
From racing for the last 2 years, having to spectate now, it's
Yeah.
like, I think we watched first round, maybe second round, and
We went home.
I went home. Yep. Like, this ain't it. I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Went home and just like decided like, you know, I always wanted a fastback and everything. And of course he has a restoration business when we were running the rat rod body at the time. Like,
And everybody was talking junk to me. So, I can't believe you own a
Yeah.
restoration shop in a car that's like that. I said,
yeah.
you know.
We had people tell me like, man, why don't you ever paint
This
that
one's
thing?
not a paying customer.
Exactly.
yeah, that's
exactly.
right.
My son don't pay shit.
Yeah, sure don't. And so like, well, how about we let's build a fastback. We'll pull this body off, and so we bought a fastback body, panels and everything, and ended up fitting that. Had Brock, he made pretty much all the Lexan in the car, except for the windshield. I got to get my windshield to him this off season to fix it, because I got to split in it now. That'll
Get us another
I'll be
one cut,
full
yeah.
Plastics Plus Brock armor.
Yeah.
There you go.
At
Brock,
Disciple
Brock,
Brock
Yes, sir.
armor.
Nice.
So took that season off. This was 2 years ago, I think,
Yeah, yeah.
something like that. Yeah, 2 years ago. Took that season off, rebuilding the car. It took us a year and a half to finally get everything pieced together and put like we wanted it. Came out the middle of last season. had a new dart motor in it, Dart 427. Upgraded to Coleman sold me his dart heads and a 102 millimeter turbo. That's what we went with. Got all that stuff from Coleman, and we did decent that first half year. A lot of trial and error trying to
Figure out, because it was so much more horsepower than what we were used to.
Yeah, we were used
so just
to
trying to get it figured. You know, we were throwing everything on it with the stock block, and it
won't,
didn't
yeah.
matter. The car would just go. You know,
Yeah.
and you put something in it like we got now. You had to readjust everything.
we gained 1,000 horsepower just from the heads and turbo, and the way we were tuning it, from learning
Yeah.
over the years, like how we need to tune this thing. And ran that first half season, didn't really have that much luck with it. Just kept knocking the tires off, couldn't figure the chassis out. Just struggled the whole year. Then went to the off season for this past season. When did some chassis, we ended up cutting the front end off, putting a chromoly front end on it.
Yeah.
I think Braxton ended
David
up
done
doing
that.
that.
Yep, he done that for us.
Braxton did that. Then we made some bar changes and just started from scratch. Like, I don't know what else to do. We're gonna start from 5 pounds of boost.
Switch turbos.
Switch turbos.
Went to a 98.
Went to a 90
Yeah.
Gangster 98 for this season. Still 427 dart heads and everything. Everything else stayed the same. Went out, started the season. I think first track was Outer Banks. I think David had a race at Outer Banks in April, maybe.
Yeah, I think that was his first
I
one.
think-
Was it that one or was it Coastal Plains?
No.
No, he
Our-
had one. We didn't go. First
we
one
didn't- we
was
couldn't make-
Brock's race.
First race was Brock's race.
Yeah.
Well, something happened with the tune over the off season. Well, we had like a 15-degree offset in the motor. Well, instead of having 15 degrees of timing in it, it had like 30 degrees of timing in it.
Yeah.
End up
Not
we're
good.
running Brock's race and testing on Friday. I was like, man, this thing is laying over on top end. Like something is wrong, like deadly wrong. And I had everybody, like, even Brock came to me, Coleman came to me, like, man, something's wrong with it. Like, we can hear it. Like, something's wrong. Like, so I go to Shannon, Young, Sean Staub. They look over the tune and all, and the crank trigger won't set up or something. They found something wrong in it. Ended up resetting the crank trigger on Saturday with a 15-degree offset, and that fixed it. Still got the offset in it to have that fixed, but I think it was positioned wrong when we set it up. Got that fixed, ran Saturday, went up there to do a burnout, and just had the it ended up dying on me. We blew a hole through the head, through the cylinder.
It
Burnt
burnt the head
up.
Yeah.
So took that off, took it to. Did Andrew fix that, or was that TKM?
TKM fixed that.
TKM fixed that.
Yep.
Had
We were down for about almost 2 months.
yeah, down 2-3 months.
So we missed a bunch of good races right there to start with. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. You missed the pollinating is what you missed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Got to put back together. Took it to TKM. Was like, y'all put a baseline in it. Just give me something to go off of, because I've had enough headache trying to do it myself. Get a baseline from them, and then the first race back was Outer Banks, whenever that was, and went like mid fours right off Jump Street. Like, boy, we have got something to work with now.
Yep.
And
it's been on the rail ever since, pretty much, other than
the
wheel
wheel
stand.
stands?
Other than the wheel
other than doing
stands.
wheelies, I will say that same weekend, that's when we had Shannon. I think we had Shannon in the finals.
I think it was.
And like I said,
believe it was.
you're Shannon Young. You got to put some more on it. Got to. And go out there mid track and start
Don't
doing
tempt
it.
him with a good time.
Exactly. Yeah.
It starts climbing, you know.
Starts doing a power wheel, and I was like,
Shannon said, I can see it. He said, I can see him out the window. And then all of a sudden, I didn't, you know.
yeah.
Jeez,
Felt like we had him. It felt like we had him that race, but wasn't meant to be. Ended up just running the rest of the season between 252 and Outer Banks. I don't think we had a chance to run Carolina no time. We were always tore up or had something going on. I was working that weekend or something. I got a weird schedule, so I can't race all the time.
Kinston only ran like 2 of their races this year, didn't they? Like they didn't really run anything this year.
They didn't, and they pretty much eliminated our class after Tyson had his bad wreck last year. They pretty much eliminated our class. They had a limited class and a street class, and that's what they ran. They wouldn't even let us go out there, which to me is stupid, because the darn limited class won't but 3 or 4 tenths off of us anyways. You're still flying 150, 60 miles an hour through there. Can't.
Yeah, I mean it.
You won't.
The track needs work.
The track needs work.
The track needs work so
does.
that it can take these faster radial cars.
Right.
Yeah.
What they need to do is they need to make it just a dedicated 1/8 mile, because technically it is a quarter-mile track.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd never run quarter-mile there.
God
you know?
no.
You know, just make it a dedicated 1/8 mile track.
Yep.
Right. The surface needs work.
Yes.
Like a lot of work.
Yep.
And me personally, I would like to see them get rid of the guardrails.
Yeah.
I'd like to get rid of the guardrails, put up good concrete flat barriers.
Yep.
Right. All the way down.
Yep.
You know, like Galat has.
Yep.
You know.
You ain't even got to widen it out. I think it's wide. To me, I feel like it's wide enough. I mean, you can definitely get sketchy out there. It's not the wide. It's not a lot wide. But you can run 2 cars
But a few things
side
are.
by side.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, it's not Nahana. Like Nahana, you can't open your door. You're going to hit the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Not talking enough on the Hunter.
You can hold hands while you're going down
right.
the track.
Yeah. Kinston, I feel like you got the room. It's just as fast as we were going, prep was kind of inconsistent. You didn't know what you were getting into, and stuff happens. I mean,
although the weird part is, Kinston has owed me 2 axles so far.
Oh, really?
I've snapped 2 axles out there.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, one was when it was still a stick shift car.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and so like breaking axles it's either you're going to break a clutch or an axle. You know, take your pick.
Yeah.
I'll take the axle. Thanks.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a lot easier.
And we love Kinston, man. That was our track. We could get down like nobody's business out there. It seemed like, especially that good year that we had in limited. Like we were getting down when nobody else was. It didn't matter. Even if the guys in the big class, we could outrun some of them on some nights and all. Like we were having a good time out there. But for whatever, everybody got faster, and it's just the track just hasn't kept up with it for whatever reason. Explain
to me the naming of the car Bam Bam. Like, why is she named Bam Bam?
Man, that is a deep story. So many layers.
And
I
know you have a special announcement about this name too that you wanted to tell Ernie.
Yeah. Ernie, I do want to tell you that it's not Dirty Money. It is Bam Bam.
Yeah. We did call the car Dirty Money there for
a few months.
For a few months when we first came back out with it. It was like, that's when the car was all pissed off, and I was like, we got to change something. So we just changed the name back. I didn't.
Turn right back around.
Turn right back around. Of course, started acting like it was supposed to after that. So maybe that was the fix.
Yeah.
But the Bam Bam name, the car was yellow, it just looked rough. Like we watched Flintstones growing up, and Bam Bam was always beating on stuff. Between that, and I watched Supercross and everything. You had Justin Barcia. His name was Bam Bam. Well, him and Chad Reed. They were my 2 guys, man. I loved watching them ride. And so I got Bam Bam from that. The car just looked old, and it just like that's what we're going to call it and everything. The car was beat off shit, and it's like it looks like something's happened to it. No, we just went with that name on a whim, and it's stuck ever
Yeah.
since. Had some local guys write on signs. They drew up a little decal for me of Bam Bam busting up a nitrous bottle and all, and
Yeah.
throw it on the back glass. We had a good time
Yeah,
with
it's
it.
pretty cool.
That's always one of my favorite things. Of hearing how guys came up with the names for their
Yeah.
car. Like, there's something that makes sense. Like Brock's car being called Green Goblin,
Right,
right? So
yeah.
like,
Green.
it's a green car with
Yeah.
the heavy flake, and it's like, okay, how many things really are green? You can either call it Hulk, but that's already taken
That's-
locally.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
Green Goblin, Snot Rocket. You know,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
only so many green names.
Green names you
Yeah.
can that
you can
fit.
go for. It's like,
Yeah.
You
Oh, yeah.
know, like I don't know if Shannon ever named the Camaro. You know,
I don't know.
I don't think he
not.
has. As
I
far as
don't
I haven't
think
heard
he
of a name. It's just
Yeah.
Bloodbath Racing is all I've
Yeah.
ever
Yeah.
heard. Yeah.
Yeah, and then on the other side you have people like John Dock who name a car before it's even started.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 You know, and I'm like, I don't know, like, you know, I, it took me like 4 years to name my car.
Yeah.
Right, you know, I went from one name to another. I was like, no, it didn't stick. It didn't stick. It didn't stick.
Yeah.
And then I wrecked it down at Myrtle Beach at Mustang Week.
Oh yeah.
Right. And like emotional damage. It just
Yeah.
it came to me right there
This is
on
it.
the side of
Yeah.
the road. You know, looking
Yeah.
at this car all beat up and the doors are busted in and all the airbags have gone off.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what this car's named now.
Yeah.
It is emotional damage. The car. You know. And,
Yeah. That's
and it's stuck.
Yeah, that's
look-
kind of how ours was. We just come up with like it was gonna be called like Sandman at one point when we were
Yeah.
building it, just because it was that tan
Sand
but-
color.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, we'll go with that. Like, we'll have them play Enter Sandman coming up to the line or stuff like that. I had this whole deal
Beirut
worked out.
Sandstorm.
Yeah. And like, man, I don't know, that don't fit right. And so one day it's like, man, Bam Bam sound. I ain't heard Bam Bam before, and
Mhm.
once I name it that, of course, I start seeing Bam Bams there. Like Austin Pruitt, I think he has that blue Mustang, and that's in Texas, and that's what it's called, is Bam Bam.
Mhm.
And also, it's hard to see the name now that I've named my car that. I was like, oh well, I ain't changing it now, so whatever.
Yeah.
But
The best
yeah.
thing about it, when we first started running that car, the trunk lid was all, well, you know, it was
Oh,
rusted
yeah.
in different places.
Mhm.
But and I cannot remember who the first one that was that come up there, but the kids loved the name of the car. We come
Yeah.
over there and they'd let them climb. We let them climb in it and sit in the car.
Yeah.
And then we thought, I said, well, dang, I'm gonna give them a Sharpie and say, let them sign the name on the trunk of the car. So
Yeah.
we got a trunk at the house in the shop that's got, I don't know, 100, 150 names on it
so.
probably
Just some
for
kids
different
coming up
races
signing it.
throughout the year. That kids come up there and they want to sign the car, so we just
Yeah.
let them sign it. You know.
Yeah, Mama's got a daycare business, and I worked there for probably 5 years, helping her out with that after school and everything.
Mhm.
I say working. I was taking the trash out and mopping the floors for her.
Yeah, I don't know
And,
if we trust you to watch kids.
Yeah, probably not anymore.
Yeah.
Bad
Not,
influence.
not after that one time.
Yeah. But we had like I said, had the trunk lid deal. We had a decal. Mama's decal was like a Earth with kids standing on it and all.
Oh man,
So we took like Jason Tyson, Brad Ward,
little heads.
Little Heads, Chris Herring, Cody Harvey, Coleman.
All these
there-
guys
there
was
was-
in the big class.
Everybody that was in the big class, like 18 guys.
And we were wearing them out, and
we-
we had up there. It was Little People's Daycare, and had their heads across there.
Had
And
their heads
all.
across them, man. It was hilarious.
They were getting
I
a
had a
kick
good
out of that.
time
They
for
walk out
that.
there and look at it and said, "Is that my head?" Yeah.
Yeah, so but yeah,
Wow.
having all the kids sign it and all that was fun, man.
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
It got big enough. Like, and it was every race ever coming up to us, wanting to sign the car and everything. There was one kid. He dressed up as me for Halloween that year,
Yep,
Nice.
sure did.
and that was the year we were running good. And
Yep.
caught on fire, and then had to miss the next year. And I was like, sorry, I don't know what you want to do.
Yeah.
I wish I was there, but I'd see him every now and then. But
Mhm.
and that's when we painted the car. And was like, I can't really have you signing the car now. Somebody gets upset.
It looks too good now. that it's
Yeah.
signing it.
And
Yeah.
I tell my crew, like, man, don't worry. It's a race car. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I get it. It's got a nice paint job and all. But go ahead and put a scratch on
If
it.
it
So you
scratches,
quit.
if it scratches,
Scratches,
you know.
scratches. Like, I do not care. This is a race car for a reason. Quit
Yeah.
messing around. Let's get this hood off. If you drop it and it busts, it busts. We'll patch it later.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ain't no big deal. But quit messing around. Let's get this stuff done. We got to roll.
I do like a nice looking race car though. Like
Yeah.
I understand at the end of the day, aesthetics is like
Not really matter.
it does not
but
make the car go faster.
It
Right.
does not.
Right? At no point does it.
And that's
But-
what was.
Like a good, clean looking
Yeah.
race car. You know, like Shannon Young's Camaro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful car.
Coleman's new Camaro
Oh,
coming
yeah.
out. That
Oh,
thing is
yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Slick Rick for all of its issues.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a clean car.
It's a clean looking car.
Yeah.
You know, Green Goblin up until this last year where the front
Yeah.
end got busted off of it.
Yeah,
you know,
it was a good car. Always has been.
It was a good clean looking car.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that black Mustang I've run around with all this year.
Yeah.
It's a clean, good looking car.
It's
you
nice
know?
to have something nice.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the gimmick the first couple of years. Like, man, y'all getting y'all's tail wore out by this ragged old car. We pulled this thing out the woods. Like, it was like, how you gonna let something like this wear you out? We were definitely the underdog for sure. And man, there's some days I wish we still had that old body, and that's what we were running. But I had people, like you said, all the time were telling us, like, you got a body shop, paint that thing and help support your dad and stuff like that. So I finally did, and them same people were like, man, I wish you'd have left the car like it was. And I was like, I can't do everything, man. I don't know what you want me to do. But
you want me to do one or the other?
Yeah.
Or you could be like Cletus McFarlane and just have it so you can just take the body off.
Yeah.
Well, we
You know,
thought about doing that.
Funny car, the body.
We had thought about seriously doing that with this fastback. We had thought about that.
We've had everything drawn up. That's what we were going to do. But I know how the guys are around here, man. If you do something like that, it's like, and you start winning, like, no, I can't have that. You just got to be latched, or they'll come up with something
Has
stupid.
to be a permanently affixed body.
Yeah,
Something
they
stupid.
want,
like that.
they want to
Yeah.
change the rule on you. So I said, no, we ain't doing that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I
well
ain't
familiar
messing with
with
that.
rules being changed on you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Was it in the 252 rejects? Was it you they were talking about when it was named the Don't Ban the Bam Bam?
Yep.
What was that about?
What was
Like,
that? What was going on with
so
that?
That was when we were trying when David had his race at Coastal,
Oh, yeah.
and that was the first race he had the slick class.
Okay.
Well, we wanted to run our car in that class and in the other class. Well, we wanted to keep it on radials. And they said, "Oh no, you can't keep it on radials." You know, I said, "Why not?" Yeah, everybody tells us radials is a disadvantage.
Yeah, can't get down during the day.
You can't get down
That's
during
all
the
we
day.
heard.
So we don't have a problem getting down during the day. So we
What's
want
the
to run
issue?
that class, and that's how it got
That's where
started.
everything got
Okay.
started.
I was
yeah.
wondering about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of times, all I want to comment in there is, do any of y'all work?
They
Yeah.
don't.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no way.
There's
You
not
know,
many of them that do.
I'm like, holy crap! Like, you know, like I'll sometimes leave my phone in the truck, you know,
Yeah.
while I'm off doing a job. I come back and there's like 100 and something
Oh, yeah.
messages,
Oh yeah,
and it's usually Shannon and Brock going back and forth.
Yeah,
you know,
especially now. Yeah.
you know, and like Kenny will hop in there, and
Yeah.
like you guys will hop in there, and
Yeah, we'll throw our
David
2
gets
cents
dragged in whether he likes it or
does.
not. You
Yeah,
know?
he'll get pissed off and had a,
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know about y'all. I have to work for a living.
Yeah.
I
got
don't,
something to do.
I don't know how you guys are doing it,
Yeah.
you know, but geez Louise, you
Yeah.
know.
But they didn't let us run. They wouldn't let us
Yeah,
run.
they
We
wouldn't let us
wanted to enter
go.
both classes. I said, "Hey, that's more money in the pot." You know.
Yeah.
And they said, "No, I don't want to do that." You know.
Yeah.
But that's
Well,
all we
it's-
were hearing is like nobody can get down during the day. We got to wait for the stars to line up right for radios, and I was just sick and tired of hearing it. It's like I'll show y'all that it can be done.
Yeah, I'll wheelie and show you.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
that's
care.
right.
And there's plenty of traction out there. I'll find it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
had some wheelie problems this year between wheelie to Outer Banks beside Shannon, and then Galot. We had to when you
Wheelie
came
it.
up to me about the podcast the first time. It was like, and we're going in the first round, and I threw a hot tune in it. I knew Shannon and Jason Tyson. They were both there, and it was like, I ain't really had the best luck here at Galot. I need to figure something out. So put a hot tune in it, and it took it for the first little bit, and about 50, 60 feet out, it
Started climbing.
starts to climb. It's like right beside Brian Jones again, the one I caught on fire beside years ago. Started doing the power wheelie, y'all, and it's like, man, this thing ain't coming down. I'm just looking up at the sky at this point, like, I don't know where this wall is.
And it was on the parachute. You can see a picture of it.
yeah.
It was on the parachute.
It was on
As
the
high as
parachute.
highest that car has ever been.
Yeah, it was on the parachute,
Yeah.
and it was riding the left rear wheel. And when it slammed down, I pedaled it. It slammed down harder than I wanted it to. Pops right back up, and I feel the car shift to the right. I was like, boy, I know I'm heading to the wall now. This definitely ain't good. So I drag it out a little bit longer, hoping it would settle down. It never did, so I had to get off of it again. And here come Brian, shooting right by me. I was like, well, shit. Just cost myself this one and everything. That was the biggest wheel stand I've ever done. And even like Jerry's, I put Jerry's on the back bumper before. We were out testing at Jacksonville,
Yep.
just a test day, right in the middle of the day, and took it out there and and put it on the bumper.
You might need to eat more burritos or something.
Something.
Just,
We're
you know,
gonna have
we
to
gotta
figure
get
something
more
out.
weight.
Yeah.
Weight on there.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure something out.
Yeah.
Finally, after that race, I was gonna make another pass that night and just say piss on it. And was like, no, as hard as that hit was, I ain't feeling the best. Enjoyed my back a little bit, and like this chassis probably something's got to be wrong somewhere. As hard as we hit, something's got to be wrong somewhere. So loaded up that night, take it to the shop, look over the car. Didn't really see nothing. We busted something on the front end.
The shock was leaking. It was started leaking a little bit.
Yeah.
And I got to looking at it. We had the front end off of it, and the wheels was like that. I said, them struts has moved.
Yeah.
So that's what they had done. They had loosened and well, it hit it so hard, you know, it
Just
pulled
blew
them
it
out.
out. Yeah.
Yep. So
We fixed all of that. Like, I'm tired of wheelies. I've had enough of them this year. I'm tired of it. We're trying to change something. So, go on the phone with Shannon Young, start telling him what I got and everything, like bar lengths and all. I was like, well, try this bar angle. Start doing the math, and I was like, man, I can't get anywhere close to that. Like, I'm a good 20% away from where he wants me to be. But I put it in. I told him, like, as close as I can get. It's like, try to see what happens. Done that, man, and it has set that car on fire ever since.
it's been on the ground ever
And,
since.
yeah, if anything, it might lift that left front up. It'll usually tote it about 100 foot, but it's about a 3 inches off the ground the whole time. But it toasted out there, and we haven't had any wheelie problems since. Had traction problems since.
Yeah.
But I'll take traction issues. I can fix traction issues over wheelies.
Over the wheelies.
Yeah.
Wheelies tear up stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we had some exciting passes this year. Had the 2 big wheel stands.
The one
Brock's-
at Brock's race where
Brock's September race. We man, I felt right that weekend. Like everything was going right with the car.
Feeling squirrely.
ooh,
Yeah.
oh, it
Squirt-
got squirrely.
Yeah, really all right. We were feeling good the whole race, and we were making good passes, good A to B passes and all. Ended up getting Carson Perry in the semifinals,
Semis, yeah.
and we both lined up there. He had been having some issues. I've been having reaction time issues. I didn't have it that day, but he was
Until
too.
that passed.
Until that passed. We get up there, both of us. I know Carson's fast. I know that was another beautiful car you were talking about, that Fox body and all. That was a beautiful car. Get up there, both of us bump in. Well, I'm bumping in, and the light's kind of flashing a little bit, and for whatever reason, I see it light the stage bulb, and I bump it one more time. It's like I'm sitting there thinking, like, what in the piss did I just do this? And it didn't deep stage me or nothing, but I know I was in a little bit deeper. Well, tree drops, I let it go. It takes off, didn't red light, takes off, and the car starts to track just a little bit to the left. And northeast, it's kind of narrow a little bit. There's definitely a groove there, and you step out of it, it's going to let you know.
And Carson we thought he had jumped us. We thought he was ahead, but he had red lit.
Yeah, he
We
really
didn't- we
didn't. I
didn't know that.
I didn't know.
Oh,
You can be 2 car lengths ahead of me, and my tree ain't dropped yet. I'm focusing on me and my lane. I ain't even paying attention to you. So didn't know he had red lit. Take off, tracks to the left a little bit, gets out the groove. Well, the car settles down, and it dead hooks to the right. And all I see is Carson and a wall. Like, boy, this is not good at all. And I start cranking the wheel to the left, and luckily Carson goes by. Didn't have any issues with him. Or then all I see is the wall. I was like, shit, if I keep dragging this brake, I know where I'm going to end up. So I keep the wheel cranked to the left, get off the brake, and it throws the car to the right. And Brock said, man, you want 2 inches from hitting that wall with your front fender. I don't know how you didn't hit it, I don't know. Snatch it back, get going back straight and all. I done made up my mind, like, well, I just blew this one too. I just blew this race.
I was looking at how much work I was going to have to do.
Yeah. And Carson, I see a bunch of parts and smoke flying from him. It's like, he's done hit the wall on top end. It's like, what in the hell has happened to him?
Yeah.
Pull down there, go check on him. He was good. Car was hurt and all, but he was good. So, everything gets settled down. My crew member, Zach, he comes over to me and was like, hey man, are we still going to run next round? I was like, Zach, I lost. I crossed center line and Carson beat me to the end. Like, we lost. Like, no, dude, you won. Carson red lit. Like, boo. bullshit. He didn't red light. And sure enough, he showed me the video, gave video for me, and sure enough, Carson red lit. We're going to the next round, going to the finals. Like, shit, get the car back, there, set the trailer. We got to work on this thing, make sure it's good. Do that, and they ended up not letting us run the finals just because of track conditions, and they didn't feel comfortable with us. And Steve Seidel, he was in the finals, didn't feel comfortable with us going down, which probably the best decision, honestly. But I was ready to go. Like I don't care, man. If it's got 2 wheels, 4 wheels, I don't care. I'm gonna drive the piss out of it. Don't matter if it's drag racing, go kart. I'm gonna drive the shit out of it. Don't care.
So what events are we planning on running next year?
Well, we're kind of making full circle on the go-kart stuff.
We're expanding a little bit.
Okay.
We're still going to drag race some, but not near as many.
Yeah, my brother, he's the one that go-kart raced for 20 years ago. Done that for a while. Well, he got a phone call probably 2 months ago now to go drive for some guys that we used to race with. Went out there, drove the go-kart for a couple of weeks, and next thing I know, we're in a truck on a Monday headed to go pick up a motor and a go-kart chassis from here and P&P.
Yeah.
And so we're picking that up. He gets that cart put together in a week, and we were at Kinley last weekend for a race.
For his first race. So.
And
so now he's getting ready.
That lit the fire under me. It's like, well, I never really go-kart raced. I want to try that. So looking for a chassis now, and we're going to start go-kart racing again next year.
Do you know what's worse than one car addiction?
2.
It's 2 car addiction.
Yeah.
And different sports.
Different sports,
Yep.
yeah.
You know,
This one is cheaper. I can tell you this one is
so
cheaper.
far.
To say racing is cheaper is a stretch, but it is cheaper than drag racing.
It is a little bit cheaper.
The drug habit would be cheaper.
It definitely
It probably would.
Wouldn't be better.
Wouldn't be better, but it'd be cheaper.
Yeah.
But as far as drag racing goes, I was looking at the schedule today, and right now I've got about 10 to 12 races I'm looking at for next year between Rockingham, Outer Banks, Northeast, Darlington. Waiting for Galot to put out their schedule. Jacksonville. We're going to hit up a lot of radio races that we can. Some Mike Keel stuff. Brock's races at Northeast. OBX versus DMV at Outer Banks Speedway. We're going to try to hit those races up. Stuff like that. And the go-kart side, I think I looked up. We're probably going to do 10 to 15 races in that next year, different weekends.
You're going to be busy, man.
We're going to be busy next year.
They're going to have me busy.
He just don't know it yet. We're going to be busy next year.
Between them two.
Yeah,
Your wife's definitely not going to get to know you. So.
Yeah, man. This racing's just been a part of our life. We get up on Sundays, like we didn't watch football. We watched NASCAR, and NHRA. That's what we watched. Anything with wheels on it, that's what we watched. We didn't.
All the
we didn't
time.
watch.
Man, I was rooting
sports.
for Clay Milliken so bad this year.
Yeah.
That's a good dude too, man.
He's such a good dude.
Yeah, he's
cool. He came up a little short.
Yeah.
You know, Brittany Force had to put him out like that.
How them forces are.
Yeah. Do you think John Force is going to get back in the car again?
I don't think so,
I don't
man.
think he is.
I want him to make one more pass.
Yeah,
I want him to get in the
good.
car one last time.
Yeah.
Like make a complete pass and then be done. I don't want him to go out like that.
Yeah. We actually, I saw John. We went to the Charlotte race, me and some friends, and we saw John and got him to sign a couple of things and everything like he does. And even a week or two later, that's when he had his bad wreck and all. And so that was crazy. What he and everything. I say that was obviously the worst wreck he's ever had. And dude's been through some wrecks now,
some bad stuff.
for sure.
Yeah. My favorite story I ever heard from him was from Matt Hagan, actually, and it was after I think it was Matt Hagan's first or second year in Funny Car, and he was out there at Charlotte, takes the car out, and the whole thing just explodes, just disintegrates around him, right? Yeah. And like literally, it's just him and a steering wheel basically is all that's left, or the yoke. It's not even a full steering wheel, and those things, right? And he gets out and grabs something on the car, throws it on the ground. And he's like all pissed off and everything, and medics and everybody comes and finds him, and he said, afterwards all the other racers are checking in on him, and John Force comes up and gives him a big hug and goes, "Hey, next time roll around on the ground like you're on fire. You'll be on TV for longer.
You'll be famous.
You'll be more famous." I was like, that is such a John Force thing. Like, hey, by the way, next time this happens, pretend you're on fire.
That dude, he's a hell of a talker, man. He will promote. Hell of a promoter right now. Johnny is. he makes the sport exciting. Like, every
yeah.
interview he does, you gotta keep up with him. He's gonna talk fast, so you keep up with him though. But
Yeah.
he's good for the sport for sure.
He's got him a good replacement in it if he comes back next year, though. Jack Beckman.
Yeah.
I mean, he won 2 races out of what,
The
6
last
or 7?
6 or 7,
Yeah,
whatever it
I mean,
was.
he's got him a good one if he has to, step out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of that also comes down to the team.
Yeah.
For those, like the driver's important, but the guys putting those cars together, like it has to be perfect.
You better be
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Every single time.
The driver has to hold the wheel, but
Driver has to hold the wheel, at 330 something miles an hour.
Yeah. If crew miss something,
Mhm.
it ain't gonna go nowhere. Whether you're gonna have catastrophe, one of the two.
Yeah.
That's what I get blamed for when it don't go nowhere.
Yeah, when issues happen, I find somebody to blame most of the time. It's not
That's
too
why
much
I'm
fault.
glad he stays on the computer and I
Yeah.
don't. I stay away from it.
Yeah, I let him and the crew, Zach White, Jerry, I let them maintain the car while I'm over there on the laptop just trying to figure out what shock change and tune change to make.
Yeah. As
And,
long as he doesn't get you in trouble writing checks you can't cash, to
That's
the
right.
drivers.
Yeah.
I have 1 or 2 crew members that way. They will talk shit. I'm just
Oh
like,
yeah. Yeah, stop! You don't know who you're messing with. Shut up.
We don't have the horsepower. I
Yeah.
don't know if you notice. It's mostly stock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some good boys though.
Yeah.
They're good. I grew up with White since middle school, and I met Zach in high school through the volunteer fire department and all.
Mhm.
So man, we've been together for 10 to 15 years now, knowing each other, and they finally started coming to the races the last couple of years and all. And they have took it on head on.
They're ready to go every
Yeah.
time we see the go. They're ready to go.
They're asking for a schedule now, and like, what we hitting up next year? Like,
Man.
y'all better be ready. We got a lot of racing to do.
Yeah, a good team behind you makes all the
It does.
difference.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
You got to kind of make it fun too a little bit.
Yeah, you can tell when they ain't at the track.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's it's one thing like going to a test and tune and running a car pretty much by yourself. You
Yeah.
can do it, and it's a less stressful situation, right? You're just
Yeah.
like, I'm just making passes, right? On race day, I don't want to have to be thinking about
Right.
did we check tire pressure? Did we
Oh,
check the
yeah.
fuel
Yeah.
tank? Did we check the I don't like
That's
if,
a lot, man.
If
you're
that's
doing it by
going
yourself.
through on my head, I'm not gonna be focused on
Right.
making that pass like I
Right.
need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, between that and just making the car make passes, now that half year that we struggled with making passes, even this year, I don't know if the thing's about to spin, it's about to do a wheelie. I don't know what it's about to do. And I'm looking at the tree, but I'm not focused on it like I should be about driving or nothing. I'm just, what's about to happen this time? And we'll take off, and whatever happens. We finally caught a groove and everything, and I was just going out there focused on the tree and started going some rounds. And all. I think we went out first round twice this year.
Nothing worse than that.
Yeah, that sucks, man. The first one was against Brock at Jacksonville that Saturday.
And we won the Friday night
we won,
shootout.
Survived Friday night shootout
Yeah.
because I beat Shannon in first round. He had the plug wire off. At least that's what he tells me. We'll leave it there.
I didn't know we were gonna have Shannon's second daddy on here.
Yeah.
We had Brock on here.
2 in a row.
2 in a row.
Shannon got me overall this year. I think it was 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've really been enjoying Brock milking this for
Yeah.
all that it's worth.
Yeah,
man.
I hate it for him, but he's going to catch it
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, he did good enough this year. He can talk that shit, but just know whenever you don't perform, that's,
When the mighty fall.
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't blame him. I'd be the same way. I'll say they'll say I'm cocky, but I'm just confident in my crew, confident in me. Like, man, we'll go out there and we're gonna kick some ass every week that we can.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple guys that whenever I do get a race up against them again and I win, which I mean that's just what we're gonna do when the car comes back out. We're just gonna beat everybody.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That's how
You
you get.
know.
That's the attitude
Oh,
you got to
yeah.
have.
That's the attitude we're gonna have.
Yeah.
And I know a couple of them. It's gonna be every time they post anything. It's gonna be like right under the first comment is gonna be them losing to me.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
gonna be the video. I'm just gonna post
to
it there
remind
every
them.
single time.
Yeah.
Just like, oh look at that. That's your car behind my car.
Yeah.
I have a picture of your car in the mirror of my car.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a good feeling, man.
It's
Yeah.
And even when we started building the cars and all, after the first couple of years, we're getting competitive, and I was like, I mean, I'm pissed on being a class filler. I'm spending this kind of money. We're gonna go out here and compete. And if you ain't got that mentality, this is not for you, man. I just, at least, in my opinion, at least,
No, you gotta.
you gotta be a killer out there. And just you gotta kill the tree, know what you're doing. If you ain't going to every race thinking you're going to win,
There ain't no need to go.
You don't need to go. You ain't got the
Yeah.
right mentality.
The mentality I've always had for people is like, first of all, I want to win. Right?
Absolutely.
I want to win. I don't want to be a class failure. I definitely don't want to go out first round.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, if I go out in the semifinals or the finals, I'm not happy about it, but like it's like, okay, the car's a contender.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a contender. Right? You know, I'm going to be nice and courteous to you in the lanes. I'm going to talk to you about, hey, do you want to go in first? Do you want me to go in first? You
Yeah.
know, but like, how long does it take you to get in?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I'm
oh,
asking.
yeah.
I'm going to ask you that question,
yeah.
right? The moment that first bulb goes on, I'm like, I want to cut his head off.
I'm
I want to cut his head. I'm going to kill this guy. I'm going to cut his head off. I hate
Yep.
that guy. I want to
Yep.
embarrass him. I
Absolutely.
want his wife to leave. You know, like,
Yeah.
like all that's going through my head. And then as soon as that wind light comes on, whichever side it is, like, okay, we're good.
All right, whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Good
gonna,
job, man. Go ahead and kick ass the rest of the race. I hope you go win it.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose to the winner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
exactly. You know, go find him afterwards, shake his hand,
Yeah.
like, hey man, good race. You know,
Yeah.
I lost. Cool.
Oh
right?
well, yeah. As
Yeah.
long as you don't play games or nothing, I'll be cool with you at the track.
Yeah,
But
it's those 4.5 seconds going down the track. You're like, I hate that guy.
I hate that guy.
That guy sucks ass. You know, that guy's
that guy sucks. Yeah, you behind me.
You know, John Doc who?
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's a good time at the track, man. We got a good group of racers, we really do. Like just between everybody, like we haven't had any issues really with anybody local. They'll always come and help out. Like the time we caught on fire, man, I bet you had the track was down there trying to check on us and all. Anytime we blew something up, it's just it's a good group of guys. It really is.
You can go to anybody's trailer and ask for a part, and if they got it, they'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Well, that's
You
always
know.
been the message of this podcast is like,
Yeah.
look, we got our rivalries, we got our bickering and our fighting.
Yeah.
Just go to the group chat. You'll see.
You will see
definitely
it.
We
see
will
it.
bicker and fight
Yes,
the entire
all
time.
week.
Yep.
But none of us want to see anybody else get hurt.
No.
None of us want to, you know. I honestly, I don't hate anybody.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, I have disagreements with them. I don't
Yeah.
hate a single guy in there.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And guys, you know, I know there's one or two guys that do hate me. Why? I don't know.
Oh, well.
What I did to them,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You
But-
must have outrun them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's usually
one
Call
of
them
them,
that.
yeah, one of them I haven't outrun.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why the guy doesn't like me, but you know
Yeah.
what? At the end of the day, I don't have enough, you know, time or energy to care.
No.
Right?
Yeah. It
And
ain't
I,
gonna
and I
affect
would
me anyway.
never want to see anything bad happen to him.
Yeah.
You know, right? And I have seen something bad happen to him, and I messaged him and said, "Hey, man, I hope you're okay."
You good, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just you know, a little bit of
Just
humble
a little
pie. just-
humble pie, a little
Oh,
common
yeah.
courtesy.
Yeah, common courtesy, man. It's
Yeah.
like, look, we're gonna have our disagreements, but at the end of the day, I don't want anyone to get hurt.
Yeah,
No.
no,
You
And
know.
man, it's bound to happen. Where
Yeah.
everybody's bound to have that bad
it's
day.
gonna happen
and
to
tear it
everybody
up.
sooner or later.
Well,
I've
and we
been
all have
close
to
plenty of
remember.
times.
We have to remember at the end of the day, this is a hobby.
It is,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
None of
It's
us
not
are
life
making
and
money on
death.
this.
No, God no.
Right? You know, even Shannon Young isn't
Yeah,
making
as
money.
much as he's winning, he is
Yeah.
not making a living off
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, that's probably why he's complaining about the payoffs. He's
Yeah.
trying to make a living off of it. And
Eh,
it's like, it's not how it works, buddy.
Yeah, and even with that, man, it's just I don't know. With the 252, I feel like there's like a ton of classes. Like who have 9 to 10 classes, and yeah, they're all paying these $2,000 to $4,000 amounts. Like, man, if you could put all this together and have a $10,000-$15,000 race, you're gonna have some dudes show up. Yes, it's an open field. I get your stock block nitrous guy. He's probably not going to come and compete against aftermarket block turbo car. I get that. But man, you want to fill the stands, you throw some money out there. Like when we were
Well, that
running,
night Galot did that 28th, Extreme 28s,
yeah,
you know, $5,000. Man, there's
Mhm.
20 guys showed up on a
Yeah,
Thursday night.
exactly.
You
Yeah,
know?
Yep.
And it's like, and then they just didn't do it again. Like they had
Yeah.
28 races, they didn't get the payout up again.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Yeah.
well,
now, man, you had the
Mhm.
formula. It was there. We were ready to go.
it was there, you know, and you know, I was actually adding another class to it.
Yeah.
I was sponsoring it. We got a couple other guys sponsoring in there
Mhm.
for this last one that Josh was going to do, and then Josh canceled it.
Yeah,
You know, and I think a lot of it was because there were so many other events going on.
yeah,
Right.
I really hope that they do it again next year.
yeah,
You know that because I'm building a class that's more based towards streetcar.
Yep.
Right. It's got streetcar rules and all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because I do think there needs to be more than just one class.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because there is such a big gap
There
between
is.
the 5-second guys and the 4-second guys.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and most of your 5-second guys, they're going to be right in that 550 area. You
Mhm.
know, and maybe on a good day, if the weather's right and the wind's behind them, they'll get a 530. out of
Right.
it, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then it seems like the moment guys get into the 4s, right, it's they're down to 480, 470, 450.
Yep.
Like
They start clicking them off.
They start clicking them off, right?
Yep.
And then you have a bunch of guys that get to that 450, 440 area,
And that's where they stop.
And that's where they stop.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you want to take these guys and make them compete with these guys? Like,
Yeah.
they're not going to show up.
Yeah.
Right. So if you have at least one other class for the slower guys and just put a hard limit on it, whether it's weight or turbo size or boost, whatever it is, like make a hard rule and say this is where the rule is.
Yeah.
You break it, you're not in, and then stick to it.
Yes. And you got to stick to it for multiple years. Like you can't ask a guy to change his car every single year.
Yeah.
Stick to a set of rules
money.
and run it for 2-3 years, and you'll have guys change their combos if they know it's going to be like that. Mike Hill's an example. He has his extreme class, so it's pretty much anything goes. But he put out a post yesterday, day before, and it's for your smaller, your small block guys, your smaller 484 big block guys, small block turbo guys, like limited to a 98 millimeter, stuff like that. Yes, these are still low 4-second cars, but his extreme class is 360, 370 cars. He's still got a gap, but he's looking out for the next group of guys. He's making a class for them. And I feel like you got to find that line for around here. Say it's 460, 470. Have a set of rules to fit that caliber car. Still have your extreme class. I mean, when David had this unlimited stock block, small block nitrous, extreme street classes, I won't participate in those, but I felt like they were all running about the same time. It was within reason, within 3-4 tenths. Man, I was getting my doors blown off by half a second my first couple of years, but I still went every weekend, and we stepped our game up to catch up to those guys, and that's what we've done. I feel like that's what would happen if you had that kind of class, if you set those kind of rules.
Yeah. I didn't understand why he had a stock block nitrous class and then a stock block boost class, and I'm like,
dude,
put them all together.
Put them all together.
Yeah.
Well, and here's my thing. The last couple of years, it's been nitrous cars that have won most of the stuff.
Yeah.
I think.
And turbo still gets shit.
Me personally, I think that we need to stop babying nitrous.
Yeah.
I think we need to stop making all the rules.
Stop catering
to the nitrous guys.
Right.
Freaking PDRA did it last year in their Super Street, right? They got rid of twin turbo setup. They said it can only be a single, and the max size you can run is an 85, right? And you had to weigh 3,200 pounds.
Handcuffing them.
Handcuffing them. And then nitrous could be down to like 2,700 pounds, and you could have like 6 kits of nitrous, just run as much as you possibly wanted, right? And I'm like, okay, so you're punishing the turbo guys because one of them won, right?
Yeah. One race and it's done.
And the nitrous guys are bitching and moaning.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like,
it's been like that for years, dude.
That's
why we had the big class split about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. You had a boost class and a nitrous class, and that's how it was. And dude, there was like 3 or 4 cars in each class, and it was terrible. Like it was the same guys every time. Like,
well, and this is why I prefer to, if you're going to build classes, just build it around weight. Like if you look at like World Cup final rules, right? They say, look, if you're running turbos, this is the max size, and this is what you have to weigh. If you're running nitrous, this is the size nitrous jets that you're allowed to run, and here's the weight. And they've really done the research to make sure that those two are going to be competitive.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not like a 300-pound difference either between the two. It's like a 100-pound difference.
Yeah.
Right?
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
And you could, in my opinion, you could do that at the track. Like, you might have to bring a set of scales to some of the tracks and most of the tracks probably. But you get up early Saturday, most of the guys are going to be there. You start weighing cars first thing in the morning, get a weight on those guys, and as they come in, get a weight on them. And like once they pass that tick, they're good. But if I race Coleman, and we're supposed to be at, we'll say 2,700 pounds, and in my opinion, he donkey gats me, and I think, oh man, that car's got to be light or turbo size, or what. If we do a weight based rule, like man, he's pulled some weight out or something. I'm a protest him. Put up $100-$150 to protest it, pull the scales out, weigh the man, and if he's good, he's good. If not, I'll go on to the next round. Well,
that's why I prefer a place like Glot. You know, and like the rules for the class I was doing was going to be weight based, and because it was street car, and it was geared more towards like modern street cars, so your S550s and stuff like that. It's 3,700 pounds is what you had to weigh.
Yeah.
Right. Did not matter power adder, transmission, nothing. You had a tire rule and a weight rule. Right.
Didn't matter what you were.
Didn't matter what it was. And then the final rule was after every pass, win or lose, you go across the scales.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd be good with that.
You know,
100%.
Because then someone doesn't magically weigh 200 pounds less in between passes. Right.
Yeah.
If you know after I make this pass, I have to go on those scales. Right. And
you're going to be on that at that weight. And that's how go-kart racing is. If
and there's somebody up at the end of that track waiting.
Yeah.
Right, for you to come around. They're going to go right there, bud.
Yeah.
Right. If you stop and all of a sudden throw something in your car,
you're
we're
done.
going to go, wait a second.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know,
So that's how go-karting is. Every cart that comes off the track, they go across them scales.
Yeah, if you're a pound off, you're done.
Oh, yeah.
It don't matter. If you had to sit out there and sit out idle for 10 minutes and you burned that much extra fuel, tough. You shouldn't have been cutting it that close. And that's the risk you got to take. But every cart that comes off that track, they are getting weighed. Unless you just pull off early and you can skip the scales. But, I mean, it's legit out there. And I get drag racing. That's not realistic to a point at some like at the Kinstons and the Northeast, stuff like that. But, man, it's
it's
not,
I'd like
you're
to
not
see
going to find a
tracks like
perfect
that
world.
invest in a good way station and stuff like that. You know, I know they're not the cheapest thing in the world, but it does make it so that
you can have rules then
you can
to
have
make it
rules
competitive.
to make it competitive. Exactly. You're not trying to do like a makeshift way station.
Right. Yeah. Between that and you're not having to have turbo size limit rules, or you can only run to so many kits or this size motor, stuff like that. You can do a weight based rule. It makes life easier, and you cut the BS out of it and the complaining and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that dude just outran me today. Is what it is. I hate it, but oh well.
Yeah. Well, guys, this has been a whole lot of fun. Thank you very much for making the trip out here.
Absolutely.
We're about a hour and 40 minutes into this.
Wow.
You know,
so didn't know that.
Flew
we've
by.
been talking about it. Yeah, we did spend about 10 minutes setting everything up, so maybe more like an hour and 30. But you know, this has
That's fine.
been a whole lot of fun. If you want anyone to follow you on social media, where should they follow you guys at?
Pretty much just on Facebook. Cam Perry on Facebook. Joe Perry. Pops Classic Restoration has a page up there. I have my business, Red Town Pressure Washing.
Okay.
I also want to shout out to sponsors, Ronnie Eubanks, Greenville Dental Lab. He's if it weren't for him, you probably wouldn't be seeing me out here the last couple of years. Like, that man definitely helped
stepped
every
up
year.
and helped us out
Every year he helps out.
Yep.
Him, Steve Knight with Performance Steeds, he does all of our apparel. Kenny Barker, Go Fast Garage, he's helped us get some parts in whenever we needed them. Like next day, he's helped us out. My brother, he has a lawn care business, Prairie Lawn Maintenance. He helped build a chassis, obviously. S&P Lawn Care, that's my crew members, Scott, Wyatt and Zach. That's their business. Look up all these businesses on Facebook, man. Help them out. Like I said, like, share, follow, everything, and a little bit helps. If you want to become a sponsor, we're hitting 10 to 15 drag races all across North Carolina, South Carolina. Go-kart tracks, we're looking 10 to 15 races. So we're looking.
We'll take sponsors for them, too.
We'll take sponsors for that, too. We're looking 25, 30 races all across North Carolina, South Carolina. So anybody wants to jump on board, help us out, it'd be greatly appreciated.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Thank you guys very much.
Right, thank you.
And as always, I'm Nate the Fast Plumber. You can follow me on Instagram. Ernie is 105life. So thank you guys very much for being here, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right.
And you guys get to sign the hood before you leave.
All right.
Okay.
Sweet.
So,
Sounds good.
see you guys next time.